Hello everyone, this is Adit back again with another video. So in this video, we are going to talk about this file system library that is already present in Node.js, and we are going to use this library to we are going to use this package to read the file, and we are also going to create a file from that library. And yeah, so let's get started now. So I have already initialized a project called just initialize it by running yarn in it, and this will create a package.json. And once this will be created, I have also created a file called index.js, and there is one file called default.json, which is nothing but some dummy data, right? And what we are going to do is inside the index.js, we are going to read the data from this file. Yeah, so let's get started now. To read the data inside this file, what we're going to do is we are going to import fs first, and this is going to come from the fs. And there is a function inside the fs which is called read file. So we are going to use fs.read file, and there is both the method read file synchronous and read file. Okay, so we are going to use read file. We can use read file async as well, but we are going to do it asynchronous in an asynchronous way, and we are going to pass the callback for that. So to do that, we are just going to use the read file, and inside that we are going to get the default.json, and we are going to get a callback with error and data. And now if we just console log this data, we will get some value, right? If we just open my terminal, and now if we just do in node index.js, we are getting this data. This is just a buffer data, and but inside the default.json we have something else, right? We don't want this as this buffer data. This is useless for us, we can't use it, right? So to do that, we need to pass the type of data. So we are just going to pass the UTF. Let me just do that. 8, right? And we're just going to save it. Now if we just run this file again, we will get the data, right? And same thing can be achieved by just using const, and then let's have a default, and we're just going to require, and we are going to have default.json, right? And instead of default, let's just put something else. Let's have a d only. Okay, or we can just have data. Okay, we can also console log this one. So let's just console log this data, data we are getting using require over here. Let's just do that. And if we just run this file again, we are getting this inside the require over here. We are getting this data and first name, and inside over here as well, we are getting the same data, right? But there is a one difference. If we try to get the data, if we try to console the log for the first name, what do you think? What will be there? So if we just do that, we can just, if we run the file, we will have to grab we are getting the value Rohit. But what if we do the same thing with this file, this console log, and we just put the first name, right? And just save it. And now if we just run it, and what do you see? We have data undefined. And the reason for that is we are getting this undefined over here is because data that we are getting over here is in a string format instead of JSON. This one is in the JSON format, but this is in the string format. So what we need to do, we need to let's create a const, and we just going to pass JSON. And when we do that, we just have JSON dot parts, and we just pass the data, right? And over here Now if we just console log pass.json, let's see what we have. We have this first name Android, and if we just do the first name, and let's just clear the console and run this file again, we are getting the data at both the places, like Rohit and Rohit, right? So this is working completely fine. Now what we're going to do is let's try to read the directory as well. Okay, so to do that, let me just comment this out first here, and okay, and over here let's have a variable called let's have a constant with I don't know, let's dir, and to read the directory we just need to pass fs dot read dir, I think dir, and if we just we need to if we just go over here, we need to define the path of the directory that we want to look into, right? So what we're going to do, if we just do the pwd over here, and we just copy this path and pass it over here, and let's just console log this one, and let's save it. Let's run the file. Here we are getting an error, right? And we are getting this error because we haven't defined the callbacks. So let's just do that. Define a callback, and instead of the callback we are going to have console.log data, and we are going to have another data. We just remove this variable, and we will just grab the value over here. Let's just save it, and let's run this again. Let me just clear the directory, and over here if we just run this again, we will have to grab the all the directory that we have inside this path. I am inside this directory, this project, all the files of this project is in the node.js directory. So from there we are getting this, if we just pass the read fs.read dir, and then we just pass the exact location of that file, and we just get the callback, and it will display all the all the files that has been created inside that directory. Okay. Now the other thing is we can also try to create a file using this fs library, and we can do that just by running fs.write file, and we are going to define a file name. So let's just create a data.json, and we can also we need in the second parameter we need to define we need to pass the data that we want to write inside this file, right? So to do that, let's create a file called dummy. Inside that we are going to have again the country, and let's have India. Okay, and we just save it, and over here let's just pass the dummy, and if we just save it and if we run the file, what do you think what we're going to get? And again we are missing the callback, so let's just put the callback, and inside the callback we just console log, let's just console log the file created, and we are going to have the data. Okay, let's clear this again, and let's run this file, and it is giving us some error, and the reason is that we are passing here an object, but instead it should be a string, right? To now let's just convert it to a stringify, and let's just do that. We just pass this dummy inside a string, And now if we just run this file again, let me just clear the console, clear the terminal, and then we run it again. Okay, so now if you just see that the file is created, and if we go to our file like data.json that has been created, we will have to grab, like, we have the value that we wanted to write inside this file, right? So this is how we read and write and view the directories using the fs library inside the node.js. So this is it for this video. In the next upcoming videos, we'll discuss about something else. And if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, I would suggest you to do that. So if you like the video, consider subscribing, and thank you for watching.